What is the impact of Ozempic on society?
Yes. Commonly referred to by me as Ozempics.
Yes.
So it's Ozempic?
It's Ozempic, and I
Okay.
think I've always said Ozempics, but I looked it up, and there is no S, so it is Ozempic.
Okay. Good to know.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about what Ozempic and other medications are, how they work, and how they affect the body, and then we can chat about what we think about that.
Love it.
Sound good?
Let's do it.
All right. First of all, do you know what Ozempic is?
Ozempic was originally a blood pressure medication, correct?
To help people with type 2 diabetes,
Sorry.
which I
Okay.
think can relate to blood pressure for sure.
All right. I'll take it. And it was meant to reduce hunger. And that's all I think I know.
Okay, it's great. So Ozempic is a medication that received FDA approval in 2017 to help manage type 2 diabetes. And people taking the medication started to notice that they were losing weight super easily. In 2021, Wegovy, which is like a higher dose version of Ozempic, was designed specifically for weight loss and was also approved by the FDA.
Okay.
So the use of these drugs exploded in popularity around the summer of 2022, driven by celebrity endorsements that celebrities who had been using it, losing a lot of weight, and then also TikTok, Instagram influencers, and viral stories of dramatic weight loss and testimonies of like, I've tried to lose weight my entire life and just got these weekly injections and here I go.
That was it.
Yep. So
Nice.
this led to a massive prescribing of Ozempic and other drugs related to it, which unfortunately led to shortages for people who like needed it for type 2 diabetes and kind of drove the price up, but skyrocketing sales for the company. By 2023, Ozempic is the third best selling drug in the world.
In the world?
Yes.
Wow. What are the other two? You know them off the top of your head?
So some of those common ones are Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, and then Roe is a new one that
Okay.
Serena Williams, the tennis star, has been advertising for.
Okay.
Excuse me.
You're okay.
So how these drugs work. So they mimic a natural gut hormone that we all have that's labeled GLP-1. So you'll also hear these referred to as GLP-1s rather than, it's kind of Ozempic is kind of like Kleenex or Q-tips, like the brand name that we all know, but there's lots of different versions of it. So these drugs work by mimicking a natural gut hormone that's called GLP-1. And this leads to several advantages. The number one is it makes your stomach empty slower. So when you eat food stays in your stomach for longer, so you feel full for hours after a meal instead of getting hungry rather quickly.
Isn't that what fats do? Fats slow your digestion.
Yep.
Like, I'm not talking about like fat people,
Right.
but fats that you eat, they slow your digestion.
Yes, like if you have some olive oil or an avocado with your meal, your body will digest slower. But if you have just some like rice, that's why like you might eat like Chinese food and you're full and then like 30 minutes later you're hungry again.
So it doesn't stimulate your
GLP-1.
GLP-1.
So it mimics a GLP-1.
Mimics.
Yeah, so it's not, that drug isn't giving you that, it just mimics it. So the main thing is that like you eat food and it stays in your stomach for a lot longer, so you feel full. Also, this drug tells your brain you're full. So the drug sends a strong I'm satisfied signal to the brain. It's been termed food noise. So it quiets food noise. So people's constant thoughts about food, which also cuts down on hunger and cravings. That your body thinks you're full, and so your brain's not thinking about food.
Okay.
And then it just reduces your appetite overall. So naturally you want to eat less because your stomach is staying full longer and your body is not telling you that you need more food. So you just eat less, which means you eat less, you lose weight.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it all works. So originally I thought this drug like helped you lose weight in the sense of like it, I don't know how I thought it worked, but
like
burned
fat.
up calories or helps them pass through quicker. But pretty much people are losing weight because they're eating less food.
Interesting.
Yes. And they're eating less food not because they're being controlled or moderate in their food decisions. It's literally they don't feel hungry because their stomach is just like full of food, slowly digesting, or their brain is like, hey, we don't need to eat.
Yeah. So we talked about some of the drawbacks of not eating food, even if it's bad food. Do you have some of those coming up?
Not really, but we can talk about it.
Yeah. So one thing I've heard related to Ozempic and other things like Ozempic is that you cut down on your food intake. It also means you cut down on your vitamin and nutrient intake.
Totally.
So it's a little bit dangerous because even though the people that are using Ozempic typically are people that are eating rather unhealthy, there's still nutrients in that unhealthy food that their body needs.
Right.
So a lot of people losing weight are actually losing muscles, like muscle mass, and they're losing bone density because their body isn't getting the nutrients that they need because they're not even eating the bad stuff with nutrients in it anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think that's one of the drawbacks of Ozempic.
Totally.
Correct?
Yes. Is that you are eating less, which is good for most people, but you still need to maintain a certain amount of nutrient intake.
Yeah.
Like even if you're only burning 1,200 calories a day, those 1,200 calories you eat, they better be good for you.
Yeah, totally.
Which generally this is a generalization, people who take Ozempic or other drugs like this, it's because they're eating a lot of food that isn't super healthy for you. Therefore, they're continuing to eat food that isn't super healthy for you, just less of it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so the results of taking this drug is lower calorie intake, and the average person loses in between 15 to 20% in trials of their total body weight. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you'll end up in between 150 to 170 pounds.
Okay.
Which is a significant amount of weight, 30 to 50 pounds, for not really doing anything other than taking a weekly injection that makes you less hungry. Yeah. There's a little bit more science into how it does blood sugar control and insulin release and all of that, but that's kind of the generality. The percentage of Americans taking a GLP-1, what do you think of adults?
Man, I would say today I would say 15, I'd say 20%.
Okay.
So I'm going to go high.
There we go. So as of early this year, 12% of U.S. adults, that's about 1 in 8 people, are currently taking a GLP-1 medication, primarily for weight loss, but there are people that are taking it for diabetes, type 2 diabetes, which you generally get because of poor diet and obesity.
Okay.
So it's kind of largely, for obesity. 18% of U.S. adults have used it at some point. And mainly the biggest age range or the most popular age range is women aged 50 to 64. About 20% of women in their 50s in the U.S. are on Ozempic.
I could see that being rather beneficial for some of them.
Yeah.
Losing a dramatic amount of weight. Yes, you lose a lot of nutrients, but at that age, carrying around that much weight is a lot of pressure on your heart and organs that have been beat up for 50, 60 years.
And that's the age that you generally go into menopause and naturally gain weight. Your metabolism slows down. It's harder to lose weight.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So usage of Ozempic and other drugs like it have doubled in the last 2 years.
Whoa.
So it's really skyrocketing. So it's really a relatively new drug. So now moving on to some of the negative effects of Ozempic. The most common, affecting in between 20 to 40% of users, is nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, abdominal pain, burping, and loss of appetite.
Wow. Well, loss of appetite is the pro of it all, isn't it?
But some people are like, they do want to eat still.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
you just don't feel like eating at all.
That's
so it's
true.
funny. I feel like I'm reading a drug commercial, which this literally is a drug commercial. So nausea, vomiting, being lightheaded, your stomach hurting. And a lot of that is because your digestive system is being forced to slow down. Therefore, food is staying in your stomach for longer, and it's beginning to kind of rot and ferment a little bit because it's not meant to stay in there that long, which causes pain. Other frequent problems for people that take Ozempic is what has been termed Ozempic face. So that is where they lose fat so quickly that their skin doesn't shrink at the same time that they're losing weight. So people are experiencing, just like if somebody weighed 500-600 pounds, usually if they lose a dramatic amount of weight, they'll have sagging and extra skin, which is to be expected because they were 500-600 pounds. Well, people are experiencing this by just losing 50 pounds because they're losing it so quickly, and they're losing fat in their face. So they're looking much older, kind of sunken and swollen in. And also Ozempic butt is another one where their butt's just kind of going flat and saggy. It was plump and full of fat before, and now it's just like all sucked out.
Ozempic butt.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And as you mentioned before, muscle loss and bone loss are huge.
Yeah.
They have found that out of the weight you lose, 60% of it is fat, but the other 40% is muscle and bone.
40%
is muscle and bone. So people are like developing osteoporosis at age 35 because literally their bones are getting kind of the nutrients
40?
sucked away, as well as muscles.
That's almost half
Yes.
of what you're losing is muscle mass and bone density.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah. Also hair loss and fatigue. So people are losing their hair too. So you're just losing a lot of stuff. Losing your hair, your butt, your face.
Oh my god.
But yeah, that's the biggest problem, is that only 60% of it is fat. Whereas normally, if you were losing weight naturally, that would include either calorie restriction or at least healthier foods, eating a little bit less and working out, where you're building muscle while losing fat at a natural pace, where your skin is able to shrink along with your weight loss rather than just this big amount of loss and getting all sunken looking. And they have found that if you want to keep the amount of muscle that you have, that you need to eat 1 gram of protein per pound that you weigh for your ideal weight. So for a woman, if their ideal weight is 150 pounds, they need to be eating 150 grams of protein a day, which is a lot of work when you don't feel like eating.
Yeah, it's a tremendous amount.
Yeah, a lot of work. Which also then, if you're digesting it slower, you're eating a couple steaks a day to get this protein in. It's just kind of rotting in your stomach. And then some serious but rare problems have been gallbladder, kidney stones, something called gastroparesis, which is pretty much stomach paralysis, where your intestines kind of just give up on digesting it all. And you don't go number 2 for like a week.
Poopy.
Yes.
I'm going poopy.
So your stomach just kind of seizes up. It's very painful. People have also had vision loss. It's affecting their eyes. And another one that's more recent is they have found that when people go under anesthesia, whether to maybe have a tooth extracted, they're in a surgery, they're getting some Botox done, there's a aspiration or asphyxiation risk because they've lost so much muscles in their throat.
Oh man.
That they're so relaxed when they're under anesthesia that they're like suffocating.
Chilling to death.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So those are the just the reported problems with taking it.
Yeah.
And what happens when you stop taking Ozempic?
I'm gonna guess here.
Okay.
Because we talked about it a little bit earlier. I guess that when you return to your normal state of hunger, your normal state of eating follows, or your old state of eating. So you're just gonna go back to eating how you did, eating what you did.
Pretty close.
Yeah?
I'm going to take a sip of this coffee in my mouth. So
No problem. There's hardly anything in there, so good luck. Yeah, it's...
Wow, there was one little sip.
There you go.
Nothing left now.
Thanks.
Thank you. I'll make you another one. So when you stop taking Ozempic, your appetite and food cravings, food noise, which is so funny, it just means you want to eat, usually return within a couple weeks. Most people regain 2/3 or more of the weight they lost within a year.
Dang.
So if you lost 60 pounds, likely you will gain at least 40 pounds or more back by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Your blood sugar levels, your blood pressure, and cholesterol also usually return to where they were before.
Man,
Yeah.
there's just no easy button. There's no easy button for weight loss, I
No.
don't think.
Yeah.
I thought this might be it because the side effects are so limited from the limited amount of time that we've seen this work. But the real side effects are the detriment on your body, your muscles, your bones.
Yes.
And then when you get off of it,
You just usually return.
you go back straight up because it seems to be less about your diet, more about your mindset around food.
Totally. Yes. And as with anything, like people who routinely go on like crash diets or change their diet a lot, generally over time their metabolism suffers as a result, which means that they're not burning calories as efficiently as other people.
Totally.
Well, this really affects your metabolism. If you're on this for a couple years, you're just going to kind of bounce right back. And you might be worse off than before. It might be even harder than before to lose weight, which is, like I mentioned, this came out in 2017. It only really became common in the last 3-4 years. So there hasn't been many or any long-term studies on this effect of taking this 10, 20 years from now.
Wow.
As well as they have found that there's about 10 to 15% of people that take it, and it literally does nothing for them because their metabolism is so toast from being on crash diets their whole life. So it kind of just doesn't do much.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. It's like very useful if you happen to be obese and have been obese or have been rather large for a long period of time and haven't really messed with crash diets before. That happens to be when it's most useful.
Exactly.
But not so much like you're describing if you've been up and down in weight in dramatic forms for, I don't know, 10, 15 years. It's not going to do much.
Most women, the biggest users are women in their 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Who've probably been trying to do this for a while.
Yeah.
And they're already entering the time of life when women in their 50s and 60s are known to already start losing bone density.
Yeah.
Like having big impacts on their bones. And then they're taking this drug. So I have a couple questions for you.
Let's go.
So is using a weekly injection for weight loss a legitimate medical tool, or is it just a socially acceptable shortcut that kind of cuts out discipline, diet, and exercise? Does it devalue? Yeah.
I think it's a legitimate medical tool. I think if you're diabetic or have high blood pressure, it's probably great for you. Not long term.
Right.
I think that you should lose weight and then get off of your medication. We have somebody dear and near to us that's going through this right now, and it's been tough being on and off medication, but they've lost a dramatic amount of weight, and hopefully that's a really healthy move permanently.
Totally.
So I think it can be a tool, and a really, like I said, the medical reason for having it is legitimate. You can save lives. As far as a weight loss tool, I think it's the same as a crash diet. Now that we've kind of talked through it,
Yeah.
it's a crash diet that, if you're rich enough, could last your entire life. But it's a crash diet that could cost you years off of your life.
Right.
Because of the bone density and muscle loss that comes with it. I mean, God forbid you ever get your wisdom teeth taken out and you've been on Ozempic for a long period of time. You could die under the anesthesia.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, what do you think?
I think that it's so hard because I am so sympathetic towards people that I've never struggled with obesity or being largely overweight. And so I do have although not experienced, a sympathy and compassion for people that have struggled with their weight their whole life. And some of them, it literally is from childhood. They were born into a household that did not value nutrition and they just literally grew up that way.
Yeah.
So I totally understand why people take it for weight loss. And I think can be quite, other than the negative side effects, very valuable for people, especially if you are diabetic or need help. Like if you weigh 400 or 500 pounds, just the load on your knees alone to stand and walk can be extremely painful. So I understand people taking it so they can get to a size where they can, start moving more. But for people who just want to lose like 10, 15 pounds, I mean, we're seeing these celebrities, they would be considered their BMI a healthy weight, are taking it to lose that extra 10 pounds or just so they don't have to work hard at working out or eating some better food choices. And they just look not the healthiest.
Yeah.
And I think it can turn into a form of enforcing body dysmorphia. We're just like, we're watching the TV show The Traitors right now. And man, there's all these women from Real Housewives TV shows on Bravo, and their lips have so much filler in them.
You got some bullfrogs on there.
They're like huge,
ribbit,
true
girl.
duck lips.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they did that on purpose progressively over time. And I think they all probably appreciate the way they look, which shows this dissonance from like, actually your lips look like they're going to split open. And so I think we've done that with like reinforcing this Ozempic thing, like, oh, actually being like sunken and like rail thin is the new beauty standard.
Yeah.
Which is just so the opposite of like 3 years ago, the big move was like fighting for body positivity, that everybody is beautiful. And I do believe like humans, like their soul and who they are can be beautiful, but
100%,
you know, being at a weight or a size where you are hurting yourself isn't. And now those same people are like, actually, I found this drug. I can just be on Ozempic.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe they were just saying everybody is beautiful because they couldn't lose the weight. But now that they can, they're like, actually, I would rather be a size 4.
Yeah. And this plays into something I had talked about with you a couple of weeks ago off the microphone, which was we have turned, this is going to be a hard statement about gluttony, but we have turned evil into good that is just misunderstood. So gluttony, which is in the Bible, it's a sin. We have just said that gluttony is just misunderstood, and that everybody who is a glutton is okay, and that that's an okay thing to do. When in reality, it's a, number one, it's a sin. And I'm not saying people who are obese are sinning. Like they probably don't have a relationship with the Lord, or maybe they do and just aren't convicted in that area. Totally fine. There's a lot of obese people at church in America. Oh my God, most of the church for sure. But it's the societal acceptance that this is okay and that this is a normal thing to like partake in, this gluttony. To tie that back in to what you were talking about, which was like, remind me of the last thing you said, because I had somewhere I was going with this, but
body positivity, where it's like people are like, oh yeah, every weight, every size is beautiful, but there's this drug that you can just poke yourself in the stomach once a week. You're like, actually, that's beautiful.
Yes, we were trying to make this sin normal, body positivity, but now that it doesn't necessarily have to be normal, I feel like people are going the opposite way and being like, actually, that's not normal. This is normal. This new unhealthy is normal.
Yes.
This new skinny unhealthy is normal. When in reality, it's the same evil with a different face on it. It's body dysmorphia.
Yes.
It's hating ourselves. It's the enemy putting insecurity in your heart and everybody agreeing like, oh, you can be skinny. You can have your cake and eat it too.
Yes.
When in reality, it's playing into his hands and being like, it's societally acceptable to be skinny and take this easy pill now. Yeah. And it's a long way of saying, I think we're playing into the devil's hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, whether you're a glutton or whether you're not.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And it's so tricky, especially since I should probably do like an episode on like the food pyramid and what's been taught in nutrition. Like, first of all, nutrition really isn't taught in schools much. The food pyramid as it is, I think it's better, the new one that came out. But people really aren't aware of, this sounds like, how can this be possible? They really aren't aware of like how to eat healthy and how bad certain foods are for them.
Totally.
And so they might feel like they're not eating that much food, but they just don't realize how many calories are in something, or they really weren't actually taught how to eat healthy. And if from a young age, you're just used to eating certain foods, it really is it's an addiction that has to be broken. So I'm very compassionate towards people that struggle in that area. But yeah, my next question, ethically, should pharmaceutical companies and doctors promote these drugs for cosmetic or mild overweight cases when like a lifestyle change of like eating better and working out is free and proven to work? Like, is it unethical for a doctor to like promote this drug for somebody who's just, 20, 30 pounds overweight?
I think it's tough, but yes, I think in my worldview it is, because ultimately you're hurting more people than you're helping. It's kind of a trolley question. Like there may be one person that this is great for, and it's really going to change their lives. But there's a lot more people that are going to experience muscle mass loss and bone density loss, which is going to shorten their lives.
Yes.
So I think it is ethically wrong. All that to say, we have somebody we know who's on something like Ozempic right now. And I do want to promote this way of using
GLP-1s, yeah.
GLP-1s, which is the person we know is taking it, but they're tapering on it in order to suppress their diet. And then they're losing a certain amount of weight and then they're tapering off.
Right. And they also have other health problems too, as well, where it's not just I'm a little overweight.
Yeah, which is the reason they're doing it. Yes. So there is a safe way to do this, but I don't think they're not taking it for the weight loss. They're taking it for the health factor.
Exactly.
And I think that's how it should be promoted. What about you?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that, there's like one that's called Zepbound. You've probably seen commercials for it, but they're known for like just prescribing people like pretty high doses. They're not doing the tapering and on and off. They're just giving people, bam, full on high dose. They're losing weight rapidly, but they're also losing their appetite and other muscle mass, bone mass, things like that. So I think pharmaceutical companies in general, I'm so appreciative of pharmaceutical companies developing amazing drugs that help people with genetic diseases or, cancer drugs, things like that. But there's also an argument that they're not really in the business per se of curing you.
Yeah.
And so they're promoting Ozempic, which then for many people might end up causing them to develop other problems that they then take another medication for, that then causes other problems that they end up taking another medication for. So it's like, and doctors get bonuses and money from these companies for prescribing their patients,
Yeah, it's a reality.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It gets super tricky, and all of it's, with caveats and generalities. But
totally. It's definitely a case-to-case thing. But I think as a blanket statement, I can say I don't think Ozempic should be available for weight loss, specifically for weight loss.
Yeah. I think maybe unless you reach a certain amount, BMI overweight or something.
That's true. Now I got to take the blanket statement back. You're right.
Yeah.
If it's going to be more healthy for that person to lose the weight and the muscle mass and bone density,
and they're educated on how to make sure they get enough protein in and good calories and stuff.
That's a caveat right there. You got me.
Yeah. Because there's a difference between taking this medication if you're 20 pounds overweight or if you're 200.
Yes. Totally. Because the pressure on your organs alone, the release of that pressure on your organs could add more years than the Ozempic is taking away.
Exactly.
So that's tough, man. It's really tough.
Yeah. And like I said, because this is, this drug hasn't even been around for a decade. We don't know the impacts of lifespan it will have until 30, 40 years ago when they're like, oh, wow, maybe 15% of people pass away earlier or something like that. It's just so new.
It's just like the carnivore diet we were talking about last week. Like, we really don't know what long-term effect it's going to have on people who do it for years and years and years. So we'll see.
Yeah. Okay, my last question is, given the unknown risks and also the high cost, so right now, depending on which brand you use and if you have insurance, it's in between $400 to over $1,000 a month. They've recently been making it less expensive. Is it moral for insurance companies or our tax dollars to pay for Medicaid patients to get this drug for free when there's underfunding in programs like health and nutrition education?
I feel like it's kind of a loaded question.
I know. I was trying to pull up different questions and thoughts, and I'm like, these are all really...
No, you're great. I mean, obviously, no. It's not okay. I think a better question would be, should we make it super expensive
Right.
And so only people who have $5,000 a month can afford it.
Right. But then for somebody who truly like morbidly obese people tend to be lower income. So then you're cutting off the people that probably need it the most, who probably also need help with their nutrition and exercise for being able to have it.
I mean, you know what? You're pointing out something in my head about me that I keep overlooking, which is that I forget about the big fat people. I just don't think about them. Yeah, no, you're right. Like that guy probably needs, but more than anything, that guy needs a nutritionist, which is less money than that. So I would say, yeah, I would make it crazy expensive, $20,000, and I would make a nutritionist $200 a month.
Yeah.
That's how I would fix that
There we
problem.
go.
What about you?
I don't know. It's tricky. And the problem is the majority of people taking Ozempic aren't in the, it's hard because 70% of Americans are overweight. So that right there. But I think in the true like morbidly obese range, like, you know, a couple 100 pounds overweight, I totally understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it should be, I don't know. It's so upsetting because insurance companies won't pay for like I've gone in for things I've actually really needed help with and they won't pay for it. But they would probably pay for me to take Ozempic.
To get on Ozempic. Oh, for sure.
You know? And so that's just tricky in general. But yeah, I think as a society, we need better education on health and nutrition and our food to not have a bunch of crap in it.
Yeah.
It's tricky because there are so many chemicals and additives in the majority of the food in the grocery store, even your organic vegetables.
Yeah.
You know, and so there is this disadvantage to people in general to even be healthy. Yeah.
I think that it would be amazing if we made this drug unavailable unless you had completed like a 6-week health course on how to eat better and how not to eat processed foods.
Yes.
You know, like if you've done everything, 6 weeks of this intensive, then you can have this drug. I think that might be, in an ideal world,
right.
That might be better than making the drug more expensive or inexpensive, is educating these people.
For their own good, not to even like prove something that they have to earn it, but for their own good. It's like the TV show My 600-Pound Life for that doctor. He does gastric bypass surgeries on morbidly obese people who weigh like 500, 600, 700 pounds, like insanely overweight. And he requires them to lose a certain amount of weight before he'll do the surgery on them. First of all, so they make it through the surgery. But secondly, so that they can like prove to them that they have at least the willpower for a 3-month period of time to eat well before getting the gastric bypass surgery to shrink their stomach.
I like that. I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this all is so controversial. It's like, and I understand there's some people that are overweight for a variety of reasons.
Totally.
You know? And so it's like, I don't look down on people that are that way. It's just the drug as a whole. I think my thought on it was for people who are taking it mainly for cosmetic purposes or just to lose that little bit of weight because they don't want to just like give up their donuts.
Yeah.
It's damaging you likely more in the long run.
So much more. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great topic, though.
Thank you.
I think it's important to bring up.
Yeah.
Great job.
And we love all people of all sizes.
Yeah, of course. This isn't us having an agenda towards fat people or skinny people. This is us wanting to bring awareness around eat well and stay away from synthetic drugs that will hurt you.
As much as possible.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
All right.